वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Matre Namaha. Namaste everyone. In today's session, we are going to review the Nama Chatur Bahu Samanvita. We are in the second sloka, which is recited as follows. So let's recite the entire second sloka first. It's recited as follows. Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha Chatur Bahu Samanvita Rahaswarupa Pasatya Krodhakarangusojvala. Of these, in the last session, we reviewed the Nama Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha, she who has the brilliance of thousands of suns rising together. That was the Nama we reviewed in the last session. In this session, we will review the Nama Chatur Bahu Samanvita. There are two interpretations in this Nama. Let's first review the first interpretation for Chatur Bahu. Chatur Bahu Samanvita. She who has four arms. Chatur is four. So, four arms. That's the literal interpretation. Ambal's form has many hands. In general, we have seen the depiction of Devi with very many arms in the temples, right? Some form has two hands. For example, goddess Meenakshi, she has two hands. One hand flowing freely on this side, and in the other hand, she very beautifully holds a parrot. So she has two hands. That's the form of goddess Meenakshi. Some form has eight hands, like for example, Durga Parameshwari. We see that Ambal has very many arms, nearly eight arms, and in each arm she holds a weapon. And then we see many other forms where Devi has 16 hands. And if you see the Virat Rupam of Sri Lalitambika, she has even more hands than we can count, right? So Ambal's form has very many different hands. This Nama Chaturbahu Samanvita especially worships that form of Sri Lalitambika with four arms. Chatur is four, so four arms. Chaturbahu Samanvita. There are several components in this Nama Chaturbahu Samanvita. First component is Chatur. Chatur means four. Bahu means hands. Samanvita means one who means possessing. That form of Devi possessing four hands. As we can see, Ambal has four hands. So that is the first interpretation, she who has four arms. Of these four arms, there are two arms in the front and two arms in the back. We can see that, right? The four arms, there are two arms which are on the back side, which appears to be on the back side, and there are two arms which appears to be on the front of the form. So this is the literal meaning of this Nama Chaturbahu Samanvita, where the form of Sri Lalitambika is meditated as upon having four arms, two in the back and two in the front. Many times we say, I have only two hands. How do you expect me to do all this work? Implying that we need more than two hands to manage our everyday actions. This Nama conveys that intent of having more than two hands, here explicitly stated as Chatur Bahu, four hands. The form of Sri Lalita Mahatripura Sundari is meditated always as having four arms. Now, if we recollect the Dhyana Shloka, it also conveys the same concept, that the way to meditate on Ambika is to think of these four divine arms. Dhyana Shloka says, Arunam Karuna Tarangitakshim Drita Pasa Angusha Pushpa Bana Chapam. Right? Meditate on that form that has four arms which are endowed with Pasam, Angusham, Pushpabanam and Chapam. Pasam is the rope. Ankusham is the gourd. The Pushpabana are the 5 arrows made of flowers, and the Chapam is the bow, the sugarcane bow. The significance of why Ambal is carrying each one of these is explained in detail in the upcoming 4 namas. So for now, for this nama, we have to remember that the form of Sri Lalita Mahatripura Sundari is Chatur Bahu Samanvita, the one who has four arms, and in each of these four arms, she has something very special that she is possessed with. She is holding on to. That is Samanvita. In Saundarya Lahari also, Acharya conveys that this form of Devi that he sees as having great Saundaryam, right? The waves of compassion, that Saundarya Lahari. Acharya is someone who has seen Ambal in person, right? So Acharya in Saundarya Lahari conveys that form. How is it when he sees Devi? He also hints that Devi has four arms. In Saundarya Lahari, Acharya states, Vanat Kanchi Dama Karikalaba Kumbhastananata Parikshina Madhye Parinata Saras Chandravadana Danurbanam Pasham Shinimapi Dadana Karatalaihi Purastadastam Naha Puramati Purushika. In that sloka, Acharya says, Danur Banam Pasham Shrimapi Dadana Karatalaihi. Dadana Karatalaihi. Karam. Karam is your hands. You have in your hands. I see you have something very special. What do you have in your hands? Danur. Danush is the sugarcane bow. You're holding a sugarcane bow in your hands. Oh, Sri Lalita Mahatripura Sundari. Banam. Banam means, so whenever there is a bow, there should be an arrow, right? That's the Banam. She has a Banam, not just any other Banam. She has Pushpa Banam, so flower arrows. Danur Banam, so bow and arrow. Pasham. Pasham is the rope here. She holds a rope in her hand. And Shrini. Shrini is the Ankusam, like how elephants are used to control, right? That Ankusam. So Acharya says, I'm seeing this form of you. But you have Danurbanam, which is the bow and arrow, Pasam and Ankusam in your hand. Only in this shloka, Acharya explicitly reveals the form of Ambal and states that Dadana Karatalaihi. She holds in her hand four special things, implying that she has four hands. Chatur Bahu Samanvita. This is the only shloka where Acharya hints that the deity with the four arms is wearing Kvanat Kanchi Dama, the jingling Kanchi Dama, the Udyanam here, right? The very special jewel that they wear on the hip, that's called Udyanam. That's the Kanchi Dhamam, right? That Acharya is hinting that the one who has the four arms is the form of Sri Lalitambika, who is also wearing the Kanchi Dhamam, implying that Chaturbahu Samanvita with the four arms. Whenever we think of a deity which has four arms, immediately we should remember Sri Kanchi Kamakshi. That's what Acharya is hinting in this shloka when we say Chaturbahu Samanvita. Now, each of these four hands has a supernatural weapon that controls the entire universe. They are not just any other weapon, right? If you see, think of it, sugar cane, bow. A bow, if you think of Sri Rama has the Kodandam in his hand, the most powerful bow, right? Ambal has also a bow, but that bow is made out of sugarcane, right? So this is not just an ordinary weapon, it's a supernatural weapon that controls the entire universe. So Ambal holds four different things in four of the arms, and each arm is presided by very powerful devatas. Adidevatas, the presiding deity, each one has a very powerful presiding devata. That's why this nama is given so much importance. The devatas, for each one of them, are like the ministers through which Ambal administers the entire universe in all directions. That's why it says Chatur. Chatur means like in all four directions, having complete control in all the directions. That is what Chatur means. Not just literally four, but in all the directions. That's what it means. So these four hands hold four special things, and they are not just weapons, they are supernatural powers, Shaktis, and each one is presided by very special Devatas. And the devatas are for the Danu, the sugarcane bow. The devata is Mantrini Devi. Mantrini Devi is the Adi Devata of the sugarcane bow. Pushpa Bana. So for the bow, there is arrows, right? The arrows are not just the physical arrows that we know that we use in bow and arrow, but these are all flower arrows, five flowers, right? The Pushpa Bana, or the arrows are the Adi Devata for the Pushpa Banas are Varahi Devi. The pasham or the rope is um, especially administered by Ashwaruda Devi. She's the Adi Devata, Ashwaruda. And Srini or the Ankusham has a very special Adi Devata called Sampatkari Devi. So the four Devatas are Mantrini Devi, Varahi Devi, Ashwaruda Devi, and Sampatkari Devi. So these are the four Devis, and the next four namas worship each of these four hands in detail. So we are here in Chatur Bahu Samanvita. We just said there are four bahus, four arms. The one who is possessed of these four arms is Chaturbahu Samanvita. That's what this nama says. But if you see, the next four namas in Lalita Sahasranama describe each one of these four devatas and the four aspects of why Lalitambika is holding that. Rahaswarupa Pasatya. Pasam, the Ashwaruda, is described in that nama, Rahaswarupa Pasatya. Krodha Karang Zojjvala, the Ankusham, right here, that is controlled by Sampatkari Devi, is celebrated in this nama, Krodhakarangusojvala. It's coming. And then the next nama says Manorupekshu Kodanda, the Kodandam, the sugarcane bow that is administered by Mantrini Devi. It is worshipped in that nama, Manorupekshu Kodanda. And then the Pushpa Banas or the flower arrows that is administered by Varahi Devi is worshipped in Panchatanmatra Sayaka. So the next four namas that are coming up describe each one of the four devatas and the four aspects of why is Lalitambika holding these four very special things in her hand. If we observe, even before describing head to toe of Ambal, right? That's the Varnana of a Sri Devata from head to toe. That's how it will be. But even before describing the head to toe form of Ambal, Vasinyati Vagdevatas describe these very special the arms as primary importance, right? In the Swarupa Varnana. When we do Swarupa Varnana, we would think that, oh, how does Ambal look? How does her face is? How is her form? How is she standing? Is Ambal sitting? How does each one of her Angam looks like? This is how we would think of a form. But right at the start itself, in Sloka 2 itself, Vasanyadi Vagdevata says, Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha. Her form is a brilliant form. And immediately following Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha, Asanyadi Vagdevata says, Chatur Bahu Samanvita. They first describe the four arms. This tells us how important these four devatas are. All the four devatas, Mantrini, Varahi, Ashwaruda, and Sampatkari Matas, are very special Shaktis, and they themselves manifested from Sri Lalitambika. That's why Vasanyadi Vagdevatas are first describing the four very special arms. That's the first interpretation, literally saying that Ambal has four arms and the Adidevatas in those four arms. That's one of the interpretation. There is also one very other special interpretation given by all the Purvacharyas. Let's look at that interpretation. The second interpretation for Chaturbahu Samanvita relates to the form that the sages see from the Chidagni Kundam. If you recollect, in the previous sessions, we reviewed that when the Devas went to the Lord for rescuing them, um, Para Sambhu made a Mahayajnam. Right? We saw this in the previous namas. From that Mahayajnam, he opened his third eye and he release the Chidagni, the great Agni. It's not just the physical Agni, this is the Chidagni, right? The Jnana Agni. And from the Jnana Agni, the Chidagni, Ambal manifested as the Chidagni Kunda Sambhuta. We saw this in the previous namas. Chidagni Kunda Sambhuta. When that forms come out, when a form comes out of that Yajna Kundam, we would have expected to see the head first and then the whole body. But here, Vasanyadi Vagdevatas describe that form as brilliant Jyoti. What did they say? Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha. The Bhanu is the sun, right? Like the rising sun. How many of the rising sun? Sahasra Abha. Like the splendor of thousands of suns rising at the same time. That's how the Kanti was there when the form came out of the Chidagni Kundam. Even though it had thousands of suns rising at the same time, it was yet pleasant as the thousands of moons. That's how that indescribable form was there, right? This is what we saw in the previous namas. Now that Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha is followed by this Nama Chatur Bahu Samanvita. So what is implied in the second interpretation is that from that Jyoti, right? From that Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha, from that splendor of the thousands of suns rising together from that Chidagni Kundam, Para Sambhu and all the sages that were assembled see something magnificent coming out as Chaturbahu Samanvita. Chaturbahu means Chaturasram, the outermost Bhupuram. That's what is referred to here as Chaturasram, the outermost Avarna of Sri Chakra. Samanvita means possessing that. Possessing that. That means it's not just the outermost Avarnam. It means starting from the outermost Avarnam, all the Avarnas up to the Bindu as Shiva Shakti Aikyam Sri Lalitambika. That's what Samanvita means. Samanvita means possessed with. That's why the Nama says Chaturbahu Samanvita. Starting from Chaturasram, the outermost Bhupuram, all the Avarnas that lead up to the most sacred spot of Bindu, which is the Siva Shakti Aikyam. Hence, Chaturbahu Samanvita is intended to state that starting with Bhupura, all the remaining Avarnas, Ambal's form manifested in the form of Sri Chakra with all the Navavarnams. That's the implied meaning. The brilliance of the thousands of suns, the Kanti Punjam, is the darshan of the entire Sri Chakra. That means from this Chitagni Kundam, as Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha, what did the Parashambhu and all the sages saw? They saw the entire Sri Chakram, the darshan of the entire Sri Chakram coming out of the Chitagni Kundam, the darshan of Ambal as Sri Lalitambika is the darshan of the entire Sri Chakram. That is the intended nama of this intended meaning of this nama. As next steps with Acharya's blessings, let's review the next nama in Sri Lalita Sahasrama. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May everyone in the whole world be very, very happy. Thank you so much, everyone. Shri Matre Namaha.